Hello and welcome to Conversations Across the Ditch with myself, Carrie Marie in New Zealand, and the beautiful Kelly O'Shea over in Tasmania.
Hi, Carrie. Hi, guys.
Hey, so today we are going to talk to you about why quick fixes and personal development don't work and how to address the real issues underlying those quick fixes that you're trying to solve. And at the end, we'll share with you a way that you can connect with us and learn about this on an even deeper level.
How exciting. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, Kelly. So would you like to get the ball rolling and share a little bit about why it's important to understand?
Absolutely, Carrie. Now, it's important to understand that a quick fix, especially in something like personal development, it doesn't work because it doesn't allow us to address, issues or underlying problems that are really standing out here, and, we're not really encouraging positive change within ourselves. And we're just sort of sweeping it under the mat, so to say, with our quick fixes. And if can I give an example of a quick fix?
Please do.
No, I can't. I'm sorry, I had a blank moment there for a moment. Oh, I apologize. But a quick fix, in the result of not dealing with the problem, and as I said, sweeping it under the mat, we're not dealing with the root of the issue of what it is. And then those issues, they fester, and everyone can now create that image of a blister festering, and then it's going to resurface. There's going to be something that is going to trigger that again, and it's going to be even messier. And I've learned that from experience. Quick fixes, yeah, okay, they're easy. It's kind of like, like a Band-Aid. You put a Band-Aid on something and you feel better, but it hasn't really helped it as much as other things could. And so I guess in a way, Carrie, quick fixes can also diminish our self-worth and self-courage, can't it?
Yes, absolutely. And of course, when we're talking about working with ourselves and our emotions, our thoughts, and the behaviors we want to have, if we're just dealing with the surface problems that we experience, we're not going to create lasting change for ourselves. And we're not going to, like I say, develop that deep trust with ourselves and other people. And I love what you were sharing about sweeping it under the mat. And I had this analogy come to mind. I know my partner Paul, he often uses it. He's a massage therapist and he uses it with his clients all the time. And if you think of a car and you've got a warning light in it, the quick fix is to actually take the light bulb out. But it doesn't address the reason that the light bulb that it was flashing, right? So it's kind of the same principle with this too. It's like if we just address a surface level problem, which could be perhaps like I say, I'm trying to think of an example. My mind's gone blank too. So an example could be, for instance, because I know this is a gripe for a lot of people, dirty dishes in the kitchen, right? A surface level problem would be just dealing with that, but actually what's underlying that? Why are the dishes constantly being left, and why are you leaving responsibility to someone else to fix it or do something about it?
Right.
What is it that you're not taking control of, and why are you making it an issue? Does that make sense?
It does. And yeah, I guess that in turn, that will lead to disappointment in yourself in doing that. You had that quick fix for the moment, but then the next day the dishes and there's twice as much.
It is if you don't
You
get it
know,
done, that's for sure. And yeah,
exactly.
so that's just a bit of an example. It's a bit of a silly example, but I trust it illustrates the point. Um,
Mm,
and I love this quote that actually Kelly found for us. To change your life, you must commit to a lifestyle change. You can't rely on
mm,
quick fixes. And that's from Karen Salmonson. I hope I pronounced her name
yeah,
correctly.
yeah, yeah. I apologize, Karen, if she didn't. But yeah, and when you listen, you really read and listen to that quote, it comes back to self, us, and the responsibility that we have to make changes, or to change the quick fixes that we've become so comfortable with. And I know that when we were talking before the podcast, Carrie, you gave the example of a headache. When we have a headache, we go for the aspirin, but we don't think, well, is that headache from dehydration? Is that headache from a neck pain or a neck strain? We just go for the quick fix of the aspirin. And I really love, that we chatted about that, and I really, really love that. And I'm going to think about that the next time I go for the aspirin.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, look for the cause. And that's what this is really about.
Yeah.
It's actually going beneath the surface level problems in our lives and going, and it's not comfortable. I want to stress this actually, it's not comfortable. It's certainly not
Mm,
easy, but doing it, just like I suppose if you think about the car analogy, just like getting in the engine and fixing the engine is grubby, it's mucky, it's dirty. Just like that's not comfortable. Neither's this. But the ultimate, but the benefit of it, of doing that, is that it actually solves the issue. The engine works, your
mm.
mind
I
works,
love that. Yeah.
your emotions feel better,
Yeah.
you feel good about yourself,
Mm,
you have higher trust,
yeah.
like I say, self-worth.
Mm, exactly. And I love the way you said the analogy of being uncomfortable, and really everything in life that benefits us is always going to be a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, and taking
And
your time.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, and I really I thought of something there that I can share with you.
Please do.
And when I was younger, and I had my stroke, which caused the left side of my body to collapse. I had to learn to walk and talk all over again. And so I was in a wheelchair, and people would push me around. You know, um, I guess some people are like, oh, she's struggling, so let's help her. And then I remember this day like it was yesterday, and it was a very long time ago. My doctor, Dr. Cherian, came up to me, and he stopped the wheelchair, and he said to me, Kelly, get out of the wheelchair. I want you to push the wheelchair. I want you to walk. Put the teddy bear in the wheelchair, and I want you to walk. And I'm just acknowledging there that I was using a quick fix by the wheelchair in order to get around. But he was then showing me, no, you need to get uncomfortable. You need to feel the pain if you want to walk again. And it worked. Like, thank you. I don't know where you are today, Dr. Darius, but thank you, because I'm walking. I walked out of that hospital like 12 weeks later. And I guess it was because of him, because he made me realize, get rid of that quick fix, and it's not going to get you where you need to go.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. So powerful. I actually got goosebumps as you were sharing that.
Mm, yeah, no,
Because
yeah,
because I also remember when you were sharing that with me earlier, you were saying that you had that belief that you couldn't walk. You actually
mm,
said to the doctor, I can't get out of
mm,
the wheelchair, I can't walk.
yeah, I
And so,
believe that,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's letting go of our limits, because to hold on
Mm,
to our limits is comfortable because it's familiar. And that's all it is,
absolutely.
it's familiar. It's not that
Yeah.
it's nice to be there, it's just what we're used to. So
Mm.
getting down into the muck and actually looking at the deeper roots of our behaviors that are perhaps not creating what we want is to actually have the changes that we really desire.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
here we actually came up with we were thinking about this and we actually came up with
Mm.
some quick fixes that are actually unresourceful and
Yeah.
have issues of their own. So some
Mm.
quick fixes are, so for example, so why do these exist? So for example, one quick fix is people pleasing. Why do we do that? Perhaps we're afraid of being rejected. It's a quick fix.
Mm.
It could be that you don't want conflict. So you do the people pleasing thing. Perhaps
Mm.
there's a task that you don't really want to do. It's uncomfortable. Again, it might even be a bit of conflict in it. So you procrastinate, you avoid it, you do other things. So you feel like you're doing something, but you're not really.
Mm. Mm.
Perhaps there's times where you feel out of control and you feel like you have to be in control. So you micromanage everything because you're afraid of uncertainty. Perhaps you're afraid that other
Mhm.
people won't be up to your standard, in which case perfectionism in this case might start kicking in. And perfectionism can lead you to not actually get things done because it isn't up to your standard. It can be very stressful and full of anxiety. But perfectionism is a strategy that allows us to fix the problem of what?
Mm.
Of perhaps not feeling like it's enough, or perhaps of even another form of procrastination, just simply avoiding getting the work out there so it's not
Absolutely.
judged,
Mm.
so you're not rejected. So the
Mm.
deeper layers here, as you can see, is actually some kind of fear.
Mm.
Kind of
Absolutely.
fear.
And listening to you talk about them, I'm all of them, they can lead to stress. Can't they? Burnout. They,
Totally.
they, yeah. Oh, quick fixes don't work, guys. No.
There you go. So that's examples of unresourceful quick fixes. So
Mm.
these are things that
Mm.
you might be searching for help with online or in personal development books. And what you want to be aware of is that some of the books and some of the literature that you read it might offer you a quick fix. And the quick fix will be, for example, say I'm just going to give you just at least one example. Say procrastination. So you're avoiding doing something uncomfortable. Well, you might pick up a book about time management, how to be more productive, but it's not addressing the underlying issue, which is most likely something to do with your self-worth
Mm.
at your core.
Mm. Yeah. That is so true. Like we all do it, and I've done it. I've gone online to find ways to do that time management exactly. And okay, they're great, but they're not specifically for me. They're not designed for my day or my thought or and yeah, I just realizing that and knowing that there are things, the quick fixes and getting out of it and making them for yourself or creating different ways for yourself that work for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So just be aware when you are looking online, what are they actually helping you with? Are they actually helping you
Mm.
just to deal with the surface level problem that you're exhibiting?
Yeah.
Or are they going down deep? What are your fears? What are you afraid of? What is it that you're avoiding? What's this making you feel? What are you making it mean? Those are sort of questions that you want to be asking yourself or being inspired or motivated to ask through the resources that you're looking at. But anyway, just a way of looking at this as well. It's like one way to help us to not the opposite of the quick fix, if you like. Sorry, I can't get my words out here. So the opposite of the quick fix, if you like, is to actually deal with your character. who you are. Who do you show up as in your relationships, when you go to work, when you're with yourself, when you go to
Mm,
play? Who are you? Because my understanding is that real self-worth comes from developing really good, strong character.
absolutely. Mm,
And a strong character has traits such as integrity, courage, humility, fidelity or loyalty and duty, temperance, justice, patience, industry, simplicity, and modesty. And a character
mm,
trait is simply an individual part of your personality and behavior that expresses who you are as a person.
yeah.
Would you like to add something to that, Kelly?
I just, again, like the word like self-worth, I think that is so important that we really acknowledge and become aware of the importance of our own self-worth and who we are, and those quick fixes of people pleasing, you know, are we really being who we want to be? Are we really looking after our own self-worth when we're doing things like that? And these characters that Carrie talked about, integrity, oh my goodness, like that just fills my heart. Courage, amazing, all of those words, the character traits that I want to have in my life. So yeah, thank you for sharing those and pointing those out to us, Carrie.
Cool. And so when it comes to living it, and I love that you're saying it's about, it's really about living it. And I feel also to have a good, strong character, it's living to morals and having an ethical code that
Mm,
you abide by, that you have something to be in integrity with, not just how you think and feel about something, but also deeper underlying principles that serve as your compass to guide you through life. Like this, one of the beautiful things about religions is that they do tend to have commandments or morals that people can abide to. That's one of the beautiful things about religion. That if you're not sure of what's right or wrong, they'll tell you, some basic ones,
mm,
but things that you'd think would be obvious, but at least living to some kind of moral code, something that you know what is right, what is wrong, and that you're adhering to
mm,
it.
mm,
And it's more than just values and beliefs,
absolutely.
because after all,
Yeah.
robbers have values and beliefs, but they're not ethical or moral.
No, they're not, right? Wow. Yeah, no, it definitely, it goes deeper than morals and beliefs, doesn't it? It really does. Yeah. And things that we all need to really think about in our own lives, and where we're going and taking responsibility for it.
Definitely, absolutely, because and that's part of it too. That's part of the story, right?
Mm,
Taking responsibility for what our actions
yeah.
that we take and whether or not they're in alignment with that moral code and adjusting course. 'Cause it's not easy. It's not always
No.
easy, especially if you're creating a personal mission statement for yourself, personal guidelines to adhere to. It's not always going to be easy to stick to that flight path. If you think about an actual, plane taking off, say from Auckland going to Sydney or Melbourne, or Tasmania even. Let's go from Auckland to
Mm,
Tasmania.
yeah.
So you got the plane going from Auckland to Tasmania. They'll have the flight path set in the plane's flight plan, but due to wind and other circumstances, it will veer off that course. So there'll be constant
Mm,
need to course correct to keep it going to where it needs to go. But the point is, it still gets to where it's going.
yeah.
It
And
just
yeah, exactly. It has, it doesn't turn back and go back to Auckland. And that I love that because that is, You know, you're gonna have bumpy time, you're gonna have setbacks, but keep going. You know, once you know that path and you've got it set out, you know, face the wind or face the challenges that you're gonna face, because yeah, just don't go back to Auckland.
No, definitely not.
No, that's good. That's good. And then there's a really powerful quote from Stephen Covey. You want to share that with us?
I thought you might share it with us, but here we go. It is
Oh,
what we
oh,
are.
oh.
What we are communicates far more eloquently than anything we say or do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you break that down, you know, and that is, you know, our actions speak louder than our words. Like that is a fundamental thing, isn't it? You know, we all say that your actions speak louder than your words.
Yeah, they do, absolutely. And deeper than that, from this quote, is who we are actually being as we are performing those actions too. It's even deeper than that. So it's an amazing and beautiful thing when you think about it. It's like I remember coming across a story, and I think this was in a book called Behaving as if the God in All Life Matters by Michelle Smallright. I might be wrong on that, so don't quote me. But there's a story of a man painting a room, and he was really depressed when he painted this room. And people didn't want to hang out in this room. It was beautifully decorated, and people couldn't understand what was it about this room. But it turned out that people were actually picking up on the vibrations of that man as he painted the room. So how we are when we do something really matters. If you're thinking, especially when you're, because at every paint stroke, he was feeling like, I don't want to do this, my life sucks, whatever it was. He's literally painting that on the walls as he's doing it. I can't remember what they had to do to change the energy in that room, but that was the reason why no one wanted to stay in there, despite how it looked.
Absolutely, yeah. We do that, you know. I'm thinking now of a situation where I've had a bad day or something, so I react in that way, and people around me pick up on that, you know. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Carrie.
You're welcome. So yeah, who we are is more important than what we do or say.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we want to share with you 3 steps on how you can actually deal with the deeper issues and really work with your character a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now, the first step I want to spend the most time on, and that's because it's so fundamental to everything that you could ever do personal development wise. If you want inner peace, if you want to have less stress, be feeling good about you, the world, and everything, this step is really important. And it's simply this: acknowledge and accept where you are, who you are right now. Whatever's going on for you, your life challenges, work, your relationships, you, whatever it is, acknowledging and accepting where you're at right now. And speaking from experience, because I've just done a weekend away at a Vipassana center, which is awesome. I've left it too long. It's good to go back. What I noticed was it releases energy and reduces pain as we reduce our resistance to what is.
Wow, it is. So I'm just, you know, before we go on, can you tell the listeners about this experience that you had and what you did? Like, I love hearing about it. I'm in awe of how you did it and how you completed it.
Thank you. So So Vipassana meditation is a very simple meditation. It's incredibly, incredibly simple. It's not easy, but it's just simply about observing what is in the now without judgment
Mm-hmm.
and acknowledging thoughts that come up and dismissing them, saying, oh, okay, you again, and focusing on the breath, on our natural breath. We don't try and change anything or manipulate it in any way if we can avoid it. So you can imagine the challenge, right? Focusing on the breath is really boring. But that's essentially what you do for most of the meditation. And the benefit of doing that is it settles the mind down. It gets so quiet and it's so much more accepting of where you're at in the moment. And for me, I had a bit of a breakthrough. No, it was a big break. I'll admit it was a big breakthrough. So it was finally me understanding something on a feeling fundamental level, on a knowing level versus an intellectual level. And that's, we don't need to be fixed. There's nothing to fix. And that's fundamental to this too, that there's nothing to fix. So when this breakthrough happened, I was in a whole lot of pain, actually, funny enough. My stomach was in knots. And I was cramping up, and I was literally just about to go and do a group sit, and I was thinking, I don't know that I want to go sit in the hall for an hour, not moving much. I'd rather be in my room on my own and just, being able to move how I want to move, being able to make myself a bit more comfortable. But it's like, no, go to the hall. It's part of the deal. It's part of what you sign up for. Is you say you're going to attend all the group sits. So I go in silence, of course. You can't talk to anyone at all. So it's all in silence. So I go to the hall, I'm in pain. On a scale of 10, it would have been an 8 or a 9. It's quite intense. Yeah. I really didn't want to be in there, I tell you. So I'm sitting there in pain. I'm kind of thinking, surely the teacher will notice, or maybe the female manager who's running this side of things, maybe she'll see me because I'm quite close to the front. Maybe she'll see me and say, hey, let's go. And she's like, no, she doesn't see me because her eyes are closed because she's meditating. I figure, well, there's two things I can do. I can either get up and go out, which will disturb everyone, or I can sit and I can stay and I can relax into it and simply accept that I'm in pain right now. And so I did. So I focused on my breath, just kept focusing on the breath. I couldn't do any other part of the meditation, but it's just focus on the breath, bringing it back, noticing the pain, because it would come up, it was there. So when that got my attention, I thought, okay, pain's there, back to the breath, just focusing on that. But the shift happened when I dropped my resistance to it, when I stopped not wanting it to be there, when I stopped wanting healing. So I just relaxed into the pain and just going, okay, it's there, and relaxed a little bit more. The pain eased. I went from literally being doubled over to being able to sit up straight by the end of the session. My pain levels went down from an 8 or a 9 down to about a 3 or a 4. It's huge. So there's still discomfort there, but it wasn't like bending over, cramping pain. And it was when I was sitting in my room that it finally clicked. Accept and acknowledge. That's all I need to do. I don't need to ask for healing. I don't need to ask this to go away, for it to change. I just have to acknowledge and accept. And through doing that, it's like the resistance dropped, so the energy was able to flow. So the muscles were able to relax. It was amazing.
Wow. Wow, what a phenomenal example of acknowledging and accepting where you are right now. Wow.
Thank you.
I love that. Thank you, Carrie. That was a mind-blowing example of that. And how long did the retreat go for?
The retreat went for 3 days, so it was about 30 hours of meditation from start to finish. It's probably a bit more than that because I did actually try and meditate on the rest breaks as well. So it's a lot. It's
okay.
intense.
Wow.
I would highly
Yeah,
recommend
yeah.
it to anyone. I really would. First one's 10 days that you do, and I did that many years ago. It was a 10-day retreat, but I learned so much, and it's literally like having a mental cleanse. So if you can find time,
Mm,
if you're dedicated to
yeah.
your journey, make the time. Honestly, make the time.
Wow.
It's worth it
Yeah.
because it gives you so much clarity. I'm
Mm,
grateful that I've gone. I wish I hadn't waited so long. I've been trying to go for a year. Um, and yeah, I've waited waited longer than I would have liked, but I'm grateful that I've gone.
oh,
And it's like
I
hitting
love
the
it.
reset button. It's what it feels like. It feels like,
Yeah,
yes, I'm back on it. I've got flow again. It's
love
awesome.
it. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Wow. That I'm blown away by that. Wow. That's a great example of like I said before, of you acknowledging the pain, and the pain went from an 8 down to a 4. You know, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the time I sat for another
Wow.
hour, it was gone.
Mm, wow.
I don't know how long it took exactly because I was just sitting. I was
Mm,
actually, it was really good. I was just so focused. And I don't
mm,
know how long I sat
mm,
for, but I just noticed at some point that it disappeared. It's, oh, it's not there anymore.
yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Wow. 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 That's yeah, that's a really good example of the importance of it. Thank you, Carrie.
Cool. Awesome. So I trust that you also, the listeners, got benefit from that as well.
Mm,
And so what also came to mind as I was talking to a client yesterday about this was a baby metaphor. Because as a baby, we just are. You look, or even if you look at a baby, it just is. It doesn't have to do anything for you to love it, for you to accept it and acknowledge it for just being it. You don't expect it to get up and walk. You don't expect it to talk properly or anything like that. You just accept and acknowledge it for what it can do right now, which is pretty much eat, poop, cry, sick, sleep.
yeah.
Maybe giggle if it can do that. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it can't even hold its own head up. They're pretty helpless. But we accept and acknowledge it for being where it's at. We even love
Mm,
it for that.
yeah.
And as the baby, from the baby's point of view, I bet you anything, it's not beating itself up that it can't crawl yet.
Mm,
Because a lot of us have this tendency to believe that we've got to do stuff, we've got to get stuff done. And when we're not doing it, we feel guilty and we feel like we've got to constantly have this whip being cracked at us. And it seems that there's a belief that if we simply accept where we're at, we're giving up, that we don't want
mm,
to change, that I can't have a goal. That's simply not true.
mm. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that baby metaphor. You know, it really gives us a visual and example. I mean, we've all seen a baby. We've seen a baby try and walk and fall over. The baby doesn't give up. You know, like you said, you know, it just keeps going. And to be able to implement that into ourselves as adults, you know, in the empowerment that that will create, it's wonderful. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. So,
So what's the next one?
well, let's look at how can you actually learn to accept and acknowledge.
So, we can do that, Gary, by writing down, you know, writing down the facts, writing down things that we've experienced or things that we've achieved, things that we've done, writing it down and then rereading it, saying it out loud. You know, I think that's really important. For me, writing things down is so powerful, you know, and speaking about it, you know, to ourselves, looking in the mirror, or finding that person that we trust, that we can share these acknowledgements with, who aren't going to judge us or question them, but just going to be there to listen, or even reciprocate and say, you know what, I acknowledge that, yes, I agree. You know, that's powerful.
It so is. Yeah, like being acknowledged and validated is incredibly powerful. And it really does fill our cup because we're being accepted for who and what we are. And if you have someone who you're able to share your deepest, darkest stuff with, I'm not suggesting that you do that straight away if you're not ready for it, but if you're able to develop that level of trust, then you get to be accepted and acknowledged for even your darkest stuff, the worst of you. And that's incredibly powerful. Can be, and for me, I've noticed that it's actually life changing when you have someone in your life that you can share your shame, the things that scare you, the things that you hold on to that you wish you didn't. It's powerful just to have someone saying, yeah, I see you, I hear you.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
You're okay. And I love you anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. That's important, you know. And I like what you said there about just acknowledging that I hear you, not necessarily reciprocating with how to fix that, you know, or telling you a better way to go about it. You don't need to hear that. Just to acknowledge you as a person and who you are, you know, and that I love my friends that do that for me. You know, it really helps me to keep moving forward, to be the person that I want to be.
Yeah.
So that's really important, to have those circle of friends in your life.
Absolutely. And you can find more about that actually in a podcast we did a couple of weeks ago now.
Yeah.
So do take a look at that. You can also do meditation like I was sharing before. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll share with you a basic meditation, which is one that I practiced at the weekend to help sharpen the mind and quiet it. It's simple, it's not easy, but if you would like to give that a go, I'll make that available to you. I'll pop a link into the comments box so that you can have a go, and would love your feedback on that. And one other way, coming back to acknowledging and accept and what you were saying, validating, you could actually even do that with yourself in some ways too. Like even for me, finding that, okay, just it's being the observer. So like you could sit quietly, for instance, and notice what's going on in your body. So, for instance, you might sit there, you might go, oh, I've got a tummy gurgle over here, I've got some anxiety here, I feel hot, I feel cold, I'm not really noticing anything. I'm saying that quite quickly, but you could actually even just go through, it's called microscopic truths, and just say what it is that you're feeling in that moment. Even noticing your thoughts, oh, I'm thinking about what I want for my dinner tonight, or I'm thinking about the thing that happened 3 years ago. You can just notice without judgment. So I've given you a few different ways of how you can do that. And I trust that one of those will resonate with you and you'll find that useful.
Absolutely, yeah.
So once you've done that, would you like to share step 2, Callie?
Absolutely. So now that you've acknowledged and you've accepted and you're walking through step 1, step 2, list 3 character traits that you would like to have. All right, and then you remember those traits that Kerry talked about before: integrity, courage, humility, fidelity, temperance, justice, patience, industry, simplicity, and modesty. They're all powerful.
They're all very
absolutely. So if you list 3, and then try and list them in order, order importance to you, what they mean to you, not what they mean to anyone else. Don't try not to be influenced by anyone else. If justice is your number 1 priority, then hey, put that number 1. For me, without a doubt, it's courage. Courage is my number 1.
And it suits me too.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, no, without a doubt, courage in the number one. That's why I'm so glad that it's on that list. You know, it's powerful, and to have that trait and to want to have that trait and want to build on that trait means so much to me. So that's what you do when you're looking for those three. Think about that. What do they mean to you? How important are they to you? Okay, and try and list them in order with those thoughts in your mind.
Mm.
You
And
know,
just
you may.
sorry,
I'm
go
sorry.
for it. Sorry, I'm interrupting. Keep
No,
going.
no.
I
I was just gonna say, you know, when you do it like that, you may be surprised. You know, when you first look at that list and you're like, oh yeah, 1, 2, 3. But then when you start thinking about it, that 1, 2, 3 might be a 2, 3, 1. You know, they're gonna change, and that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, go for it, Gary.
No, it's all good. I was going to add to that, but no, the way you suggested that they order them is perfect and awesome. So, yeah, feeling into it, getting a good idea of what they actually mean. I think that's a great way of actually looking at it. And I'd like to invite you also not to be limited by the traits that we've given. I'm sure
Oh
there's
yeah,
a whole
absolutely.
lot more. For example,
Mm,
generosity is a good one as well. I would actually say that love, I'm sure love is a character trait,
mm.
you know, kindness, that kind of thing. So, you know, don't be limited by the examples that we've given you.
No,
Please,
exactly. Yes,
please
please.
expand upon them if none of them resonate.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. We don't want to limit them. So yeah, so please, like Gary said, think beyond those words that we've given you. You know, like love. Oh my goodness, that's up there as well. That's a great character trait to have.
Absolutely. So
Mm.
the last one, step number 3, would
Oh,
you like to take that one as well?
absolutely. So step number 3. You know, we want you to now come up with an action or a behavior for each of these traits that you've chosen and put them in order. Okay, so what are you, so that you know what you are embodying this trait within yourself. You know, what does it mean? How are you going to implement it into your life? You know, and start thinking about that. For an example, you know, integrity. You know, you can start thinking about what do I say or how do I say it? You know, always saying what you mean. Don't you know, again, don't be that people pleaser and tell people what they want to hear. If that's not what you mean, then maybe integrity is not going to be on your list. Maybe you want it to be. So work on getting rid of telling people what they want to say, what they want to hear, sorry, and say what you mean. You know, and ask yourself, what would integrity do for me if I really concentrated on having that as one of my character traits? What would I become? You know, how would I be able to see myself or look at myself? Would I sound different? Would I be able, you know, be more powerful? Would I be empowering myself? You know, so when you look at these words and you make that list, these are some of the questions you can ask yourself. You know, what would having more courage in my life, what would that do for me? You know, justice, what would that mean? So these steps are fun and important, aren't they, Carrie?
They really are, and I've worked with clients not exactly in this way. It was with values actually, but similar sort of thing. It's like it's still embodying certain traits, and just she said it was really powerful actually asking that question. Well, okay, what would love do in this situation?
Mm,
And for her, it's like, oh, I have this inside of me. I have this character inside of me, and I can call on it, and I can ask it, and figure out, okay, well, what behavior, what action is in alignment with that trait or with that value.
mm,
And she said it was really powerful. It means that now she's got a way of knowing when she's in alignment with what matters to her.
mm,
So
mm.
it's hugely empowering to go through
It is, it is,
an
it
exercise
is.
like this.
Mm. This has been a fantastic discussion, Gary. I love it, yeah. and realizing what matters to you, you know, and who you are and who you want to become, you know, acknowledging who you are, but hey, I'm going to change that. That's okay. You can do that. And creating the character traits that of the person you are, the person you want to become, the person that you want to be is so powerful.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it really is.
Truly. Okay, so in summary, 3 steps to help you identify the character traits that you want to embody and start living. So the first one was acknowledge and accepting where you are right now. And you can do that by speaking your truth, what's going on for you with someone else, by doing it with yourself through a meditation process, which I'll share with you. Just basically just allowing yourself to be the observer. The second step was to list 3 character traits that are important to you, and listing them in the order that is most meaningful for you, based on what they mean to you. And the lastly, coming up with a behavior or action for each one so that you know when you're acting in integrity with them or in alignment with each of those traits. Cool. So this podcast is actually inspired by The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, which we are currently exploring in the Empowering You book club. And we've just started. So the perfect time to hop in and join if you're not already part of the group. And this particular part was inspired by the first section, which is called Inside Out, which is really looking at the fundamentals of what makes us tick before we actually look at habits which support those underlying core issues that we were speaking about earlier. Would you like to share more about the group, Kelly?
Oh my goodness. Oh, how can I describe the group? The group is empowering. You know, it is full of people who want to grow, who want to learn more about themselves. And we have covered 2 amazing books thus far. Ultimate You, Sharon Pearson, and what was the second book?
Unlimited Power.
That's it. Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. Both books, you know, change people's lives. And so in the group, you know, Kerry records the chapters, which is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, Kerry. And, you know, people are encouraged to share key takeaways. I every now and then post quotes and questions to get people thinking. This recording is up there live, so you get to watch Kerry and I as we chat away. But it's just a really safe, non-judgmental, confidential group. You know, there's no expectations from Kerry or I. Everyone's encouraged to be themselves. You have Kerry and I there to support you all the way. We are on this journey with you. And that is why it is so amazing, because we are learning with you. And we love hearing about what you're learning, you know, because it's like reading the book. How many people are in the group, Kerry?
We've got 63, I believe. 63 members.
Wow. So it's like, you know, you're getting the objective of the book from like 60 plus people. Then there's something that you may miss that they picked up. So that is sold. And yeah, it is a group. So I love it. There's support and there's audio, videos. Every now and then, Kerry and I might jump on and do a live. You know, we're going to create a workbook for this book, which is something we haven't done for the other 2, which you can download. And a little bit of recap of the 7 habits and some activities and questions that you can work through to help you, again, you know, get the most out of the book. And it's a great community. You know, the people are friendly and we're from all over. You know, we get to meet new friends and it's great. So where can they find our book club, Carrie?
So you can find the book club on Facebook. So it's facebook.com/groups/empowering you book club. And I'll post the URL in the descriptions as well so you can see it there. And I'd love to add to that too, is what we're inviting the members of the group to do is actually share their theme for the book. So rather than trying to change everything at once, in which case you don't really see change anywhere, let's actually focus on one life aspect that really needs to be changed. So what this means is that when we know your particular theme, we can actually tailor some of our content to actually help you see how you can apply what's being taught in that particular area of your life. So it's really relevant to you and really pertinent to you and where you're at and where you're going.
That's it. And you work at your own pace. And, you know, we, like Carrie just pointed out, we all get different things out of it. You know, and that's what makes it fun. We all learn from each other. I love it.
We do. We have so much fun in there. So we look forward to seeing you in there. Please answer the questions when you join, and we'll let you in as soon as we see it. Really, we're pretty quick.
Yeah, we get notifications.
So yeah. So you've got the URL. If you didn't catch it, it'll be in the description below.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you to all of you for listening, and looking forward to seeing you in the group, or if not, then on the next podcast.
Fantastic.
Bye.
Bye, guys.